Hello, Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate with me, your co-host Owen. And today I'm going to be talking about my favorite draft pick, the top draft pick in my estimation for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, George Pickens. Guys, I have such high hopes for George Pickens and what he will bring to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, everything I hear at this moment in time from analysts, from guys from, more importantly, guys from Georgia Bulldogs, Georgia Bulldog coaches, Georgia Bulldog analysts, guys who are fans of the Georgia Bulldogs, guys who host Georgia Bulldog podcasts, guys like Coach Corey Burton, who I heard talk the other day. They just wax lyrical about this guy. They just talk so much positivity about George Pickens and the type of receiver he is and the quality of players the Pittsburgh Steelers have got. So, George Pickens was taken at pick 52 in the second round. Many analysts and many of the observers from Georgia believe that if Pickens had stayed injury-free throughout the 2021 season, he would have been a first-round talent. I heard him talked about by two Georgia analysts as being as talented, if not more talented in some cases than Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, Drake London, and Garrett Wilson. You know, that is high praise. The biggest thing that I've heard time and time again is the Pittsburgh Steelers got an absolute steal getting George Pickens at pick 52. They got first round talent in the second round. He is an awesome guy. George Pickens is 6'3", 190 pounds. He's a big old dude. He's a big unit. He's got 32.5-inch arms even. He's got 8.75-inch hands. He went to Georgia, and his hometown is Hoover, Alabama. He comes from Alabama, a wide receiver from Alabama. Does that ring any bells for anyone out there? Does anybody remember? I'm sure you do. The great John Stallworth, also from Alabama. Could he be another George Stallworth? Could he be the second coming of George Stallworth? Although I have heard more that he's a bit Heinz Ward 2.0, but with a bit more talent. That might be sacrilege to say. I'm sorry, Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Also, a great quote about him I saw from former Steelers cornerback Ike Taylor. He said, "He will fight a corner in a minute. We got a scrapper. He's all attitude. He's a Steeler." What a fantastic, that's the big thing for me. That last line from Ike Taylor, he's a Steeler. He has the character, he has the aggression, he has the fortitude to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Does this man, George Pickens. You know, people have talked about George Pickens in terms of the way he plays the game, his attitude, his aggression. Some people have actually said it as a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. You know, if you're going to be a great sportsman at any sport, you've got to have a little bit of attitude, a little bit of moxie about you. And George Pickens has that. You know, if you look at the greats of the past in the NFL, in the NBA, in the NHL, in Major League Baseball, they've all had a little bit of an edge to them. They've all had a bit of an attitude, a bit of a high opinion of themselves, haven't they? And George Pickens has that. He could well and truly spark this wide receiver room with the way he plays the game, his aggression, and what he brings to the field. You know, yes, I know this incident here when he got in a fight with Georgia Tech cornerback and threw him into a brick wall did call him into question. But I think that's got to be forgotten about now. He was a freshman then, and it was a bit of a rivalry game in terms of Georgia versus Georgia Tech. Let's forget that. Let's move on. Let's think about George Pickens, the player. Now, George Pickens brings so much to the Pittsburgh Steelers, so much talent. He brings speed, he brings strength, he brings aggression, he brings his unique talent that I think could well make him the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver one of the future. We haven't really had a wide receiver one of any massive, huge talent since Antonio Brown. Yes, DJ's tried to fill in. Yes, Chase has tried to fill in. You know, there's been receivers that have tried to be the new Antonio Brown, hasn't there? But no one really has filled in. And I think George Pickens is capable of being as good, if not better, than Antonio Brown. Let's have a look at his stats from college, first of all. So 3 years at Georgia. That last year, obviously 2021, was put back by injury. In 2019, he played 12 games. He had 49 receptions for 727 yards, an average of 14.8, 8 touchdowns. So pretty good quality. 2020, he had 8 games, suffered from injury in that season, 36 receptions, 513 yards, average of 14.3, 6 touchdowns in total. In 2021, that season he was injured. He played in 4 games. He had 5 receptions, 107 yards, average 21.4, no touchdowns there at all. Now, so let's go back to that for a minute. Yes, injury is a concern with George Pickens, and I think that's probably why he slipped down the draft rankings. The Pittsburgh Steelers need to work on that fitness, work on that redevelopment of George Pickens as a player and his fitness. If you consider his 40 times, his broad jump times, his shuttle times from the combine, you've got to put those into context in terms of the fact that he still was not fully fit and fully over that ACL. Yes, as well, he came back and played at the end of the season when he could have easily said, no, I'm going to just rest and get myself ready for the draft. He's a team guy. That's what we want in the Pittsburgh Steelers, isn't it? Team players. And George Pickens certainly is that team player. He put his team before his own health by coming back to represent Georgia at the end of the season and playing in those games and helping to get Georgia to become national champions, beating the Alabama Crimson Tide in the national championship game. In that game, he had a 52-yard long reception as well. Now, what else has George Pickens got? Well, George Pickens can play in a number of different positions. He can play as an outside receiver. He can play in the slot as well. His physicality and his yards after catch talent is definitely something that would be useful to play in the slot occasionally. We could really mix it up in the slot this year with Calvin Austin III, Pat Freiermuth, and George Pickens. In addition to that, he could get out wide. He could use his speed to become a deep threat. And I think whoever the quarterback is, whether it's Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, they've got a real serious deep threat there in George Pickens. And let's face it, Pickett and Trubisky will be much more able to exploit that deep threat, given the fact that they've got slightly better arms at this stage of their careers than Ben had at the end of his career. You know, George Pickens is someone who really excites me with the way he wants to play the game. He loves to block as well. As a wide receiver, you know, wide receivers often don't like doing the dirty part of the game. They don't like doing the blocking part of the game. They want the glory. They want the deep runs. They want the deep catches. They're taking it to the house. That's what wide receivers want, isn't it? But George Pickens revels as much in doing the blocking. He likes the blocking. He likes to block. He's good at blocking. Witness a game against Michigan where he turned to the Michigan sideline and went, shh. He then proceeded to block a defensive back and pretty much chucked this guy back 10 yards. He then turned to the Michigan sideline again and went, shh. This guy is an animal. He is a dog. He is a beast. He is going to be awesome. I really do think that with his attitude, his talent, his skill set, that ability to run routes, to break routes, he is going to be a future Steelers wide receiver one. I honestly think that if we keep him fit and we coach him in the right way, this guy is a potential top 10, top 5 NFL receiver of the future. Moreover, he is great at high pointing the ball, something that Chase Claypool is often criticized for. Some of the catches that he took in college, if you look at them, he goes up in the air and he twists and turns in the air and comes down with the ball and then takes off running again. And you wonder, how on earth did he do that? How did he contort his body in such a way to catch the ball and then come down on his feet and then run out and get to yards after catch? He has got a very unique talent. He is an awesome wide receiver. Guys, I can't wait to see him pull on the black and gold and play for our Pittsburgh Steelers. Mix him into that new wide receiver room with Calvin Austin III, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Miles Boykin, and possibly someone like Tyler Snead or Cody White. And we have got a great set of weapons for Pickett or Trubisky to use this coming season, the 2022 season. I, for one, am very, very optimistic going forward for our 2022 Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't listen to the criticism from the NFL analyst. I don't think we're the 26th best team in the NFL, like it was suggested earlier this week on ESPN. We are a top team. So, guys, thanks for listening to this latest episode here on your Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. Remember to hit that subscribe button. Come and join the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate family. Be part of the biggest, new, freshest channel out there. We don't chat rubbish. We only talk the truth about our Steelers. Thanks for listening, guys. Let's finish this, as we finish everything, with "Here we go, Steelers. Come on!"